Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hey everybody, before you jump into this week's Combat Sports UK podcast, I've got some exciting news for you. Do you want to look as stylish as Thomas Shelby when you train? Do you want to experience the comfort that can only be achieved by a cup of tea on a cold day? Well, good news for you guys. Ex-Martial has partnered with us, Combat Sports UK. They are the fastest growing brand in martial arts for a reason. They are making waves and taking practitioners with their slick, stylish, and hilarious designs that are fit for a king. From rash guards to shorts, streetwear, and more, Ex-Martial has got you covered. Ex-Martial is an extremely community-oriented brand, having given away over $50,000 in free gear last year alone, as well as sponsoring over 300 athletes. And if you shop using the code CSUK10 at checkout, you can get 10% off everything in store. That code again is CSUK10 at checkout. Go and check out xmartial.com and enjoy the fight. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Combat Sports UK MMA podcast. And we are back, myself and John Boguslavski. Gamebred, should I say. How are you, sir?
Good by yourself. Back to Gamebred, no more Apex, Mr. Apex.
No more Mr. Apex. I mean, we're out of the Apex for a foreseeable future. I haven't looked at the upcoming fights, but I think there's not one for a little while. So fingers crossed. Maybe towards June time, I guess there isn't one. Maybe is it the Lerone Murphy fight? Maybe that's the next one in the Apex.
Or Bowes versus Murphy, then win the following week. Yeah, I believe it's in the Apex.
Yeah. So anyway, this week we are off to St. Louis, whatever St. Louis the pronunciation is, for Derrick Lewis against Rodrigo Nascimento. One thing that jumps out at me from this card is the amount of fighters with 1 or 0 losses on the main card. It's only really on one side of each fight. Nursultan, Ruzibayev, and Joaquin Buckley are the only fight where one of the fighters has more than 1 loss. So is it a setup card, basically, for those that don't?
For some, yeah, for some not. We're gonna get into the main event, but I do think Rodrigo hasn't had a strong showing since he got to the UFC. And with Derrick, it's unpredictable what happens with Derrick. So I believe some fighters are set up to just boost their record. And however, I do think some of their ones will turn to losses. It's a big test for them. It's a pretty good fight card. It's a big test for some of those people.
Yeah, it is. And there's one guy in particular on there who's, I'm sure you hope doesn't go, but we shall get to him. Like you said, let's jump first straight into the main event. The Black Beast, Derrick Lewis is coming back after his, should we say, lie down against Jailton Almeida. Not a lot else happened in that fight apart from Derrick Lewis laying down and Jailton Almeida laying on top of him, and Rodrigo Nascimento coming in off of 3 wins. Dontel Mays, Ilir Latifi, and Tanner Boza, all of those by decision. Latifi and Boza by split decision. The last one out against Mays being unanimous. I mean, first of all, it's an interesting fight, right? Like, especially when you consider the trajectory of both fighters, where they're at in their career. Obviously, Nascimento being the younger guy, another Brazilian kind of, you could call him up and comer. Haven't we seen this already? Like, didn't this fight already happen with Jailton Almeida and Derrick Lewis, or is it going to go another way, do you think?
We did see them kind of against Jailton Almeida. However, Rodrigo is not 230 pounds. He is 264 pounds. And in my opinion, he hasn't had the strongest of showing in the UFC. He faced off against Dontel Mays twice now. And it seemed like he got worse as his career in UFC went on. I know he had a good arm triangle win in the Contender Series. And then he got Dontel Mays, got a good second round rear naked choke, good submission, but then he lost to Chris Dawkins, who's not in UFC anymore. And we know how Derrick disposed of him in round 1, I believe. And then Tanner Bozer split decision win Ilir Latifi, split decision win, and then another match against Jon Taylor. I believe he was supposed to face somebody else, and Myers stepped in. But split, unanimous after coming off a first round loss by KO. I don't know if it's the strongest of showing, and we know who has the most KOs, the strongest KOs in the UFC division, is Derrick Lewis. So he's definitely susceptible to that.
It is one of those for Nascimento. I don't know if I do understand the matchmaking here, I guess, because you want to kind of give Derrick Lewis a chance to get the win back. He's actually 4-1 in his last five is Derrick, which is not a good look. Especially, I think the Sergey Spivak one is quite a rough one because we know Spivak is not really at the top level of the division. Pavlovich, okay, you can understand that. Tuivasa, that's not aging too well either. So it's very much a question of where Derrick is at in his career. I mean, where do you see the Black Beast right now in terms of his career?
Yeah, we saw Derrick go for the title now twice. Once against DC, he lost by rear naked choke. Against the interim against Cyril Gahn. So Derrick's not at the top of the heavyweight division. He is probably in that 7 to 15 ranked. Just for at this point, he should just be having fun fights, seeing people who he can knock out. Yeah, that's who I see Derrick is now. He's a fan favorite. You always want to see him fight. Maybe not main event 5 rounders, but somewhere in the main event, in the main card, sorry, as a 3-round fight against somebody who he could probably slugger, not somebody who will take him down. But Derrick also has just technique that he just stands up when he gets taken down.
Yeah.
He didn't do it against Almeida, but just Almeida just speaks to the level he is at. And so it's weird, like who's probably the best guy in the division right now, other than Aspinall, is probably Curtis Blades, and we know Derrick Lewis knocked him out with a beautiful uppercut. So he's in a weird position. It's just as long as it's a fun fight happening, as long as we know like Derrick could knock out anybody. So that's what we're tuning in to watch.
I would question that about the second best heavyweight, but that's a discussion for another day. I think a big
heavyweights.
I think a big Russian dude would have something to say about that.
He got knocked. Well, he's as good as his last fight. He knocked out by Aspinall. So for me, and who would beat Aspinall? Kind of, it's Blade. So it's kind of that MMA triangle. Even though it's not like it's due to injury, it's kind of that MMA triangle math you're trying to do.
Yeah, and I mean you've already kind of talked up or down Rodrigo Nascimento. Don't seem like you're a massive fan of him, man.
It's just, I saw him on the Contender Series. I love the Contender Series, by the way. That's one of the best MMA shows. If I'm so excited, summer's coming up, so I'm excited for it to come back. I haven't seen much of him. Tanner Boser is a solid fighter, but we saw him recently move down to light heavyweight, so he can make 205, and you got a split decision win over him. I know Tanner moves a lot and stuff like that. Ilir Latifi, I believe he's like 40 years old. He's 41 years old, and you got a split decision win versus him. Sure, he's a wrestler, and Nascimento. Did I say his name correctly?
Nascimento,
yeah. He's also kind of like a wrestler, jiu-jitsu guy, and you brought him to split decision. Wasn't quite impressed, especially Latifi's record was 16-8 now. And you got a rematch with Jon Taylor, who's sure he's a tall fella and is probably could be dealing with the length, but you submit him in the first fight, in your first fight in UFC, and you couldn't get him out of it in the second time. I don't remember the scorecards, but it's just, if you're a submission guy, you got to submit people. You got to get people finishers, got to get excited to be in the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division, you have to finish people to climb up the rankings, especially as fast as possible in such a weaker division. He hasn't done anything to impress me to show he's good. He does have the no contest against Alan Badeau. And there's nothing to show for. I think they're just here. You're a pretty solid prospect. 3-0. 4-1 in the UFC. You could possibly finish Derrick, but Derrick is a fan favorite, so maybe you could take a bit of his stock of his fan base, a bit of the hype, and go with it. But I think fans are tuning in to see, especially the casuals, to see, oh, Derrick will get another knockout here.
Yeah, I'll put my hand up to that one. I mean, I'm going to go straight into my prediction now. I think Derrick by probably maybe second or third round. I think if it goes any longer than that, I think Rodrigo is going to grind him out. It could just be one of those should be an Apex main event, grindy kind of fights if Rodrigo wants it to be. But hopefully Derrick can get to space and just stick one right on his chin. So I'm going second round, Derrick Lewis knockout.
I think we'll see classic Derrick. I think it's not in Houston, so good for it. It's not his home state, so he could probably have less pressure. His main event. I think I will gonna go as well with you. I'm gonna get an early second round finish for Derrick Lewis early in the round.
Let's go, Team Black Beast.
Let's go.
Black Beast. In the co-main event, rather a curious one for me. You might be able to fill me in as to why this fight is happening. But Joaquin Buckley, fresh off that win, really impressive win against Vicente Luque, fighting against Nuzultine Ruziboyev. I think I've got that correct. Who's also coming off a ridiculous win streak at the moment of 10 wins. This one's set up for the welterweight division, obviously, where everyone's chasing Leon Edwards. Nuzultine coming off a round one finish of Cedric Dumas. Joaquin Buckley, like I said, the Vicente Luque second round finish. When I looked at this fight, I thought, okay, this dude must be ranked, and I just haven't seen him. Nope, look into the rankings, nothing. He's not there. He must be an absolute killer. Yeah, he pretty much is an absolute killer. But when you look at Joaquin Buckley, especially getting on the mic, was it ahead of 299 or 298? 300? It was ahead of 300, right? Getting on the mic in the crowd, calling for the main event of this card. Why do you think he's not fighting someone in the rankings? And are we missing something with Mr. Nuzultan?
I'm not quite sure why it's not in the rankings. I think Joaquin just fought at Atlantic City in the Manu Faryat versus Aaron Blanchfield card, and he beat Luque, got the ranking from Luque. I don't know if anybody in the ranking was willing to risk his ranking again for such a quick turnaround kind of for Joaquin. I think Dana here kind of is like, hey, why are you interrupting my press conference, man? Here is a guy who's on a 10-fight win streak. Oh, wait. On a 10-fight first round finishing streak. I don't know the level of opponent, to be honest. If I'm looking at the opponents previously, the opponent records could be kind of patent. You know, he finished 24-8-2. Sorry, 20. His first opponent he got first round finish. He was 20-25-1. Next guy is 10-8-0, 8-3-0, 4-4-0, 20-10-1, 15-2. His latest one right before going to the UFC at WEF Global, it was 12-12-0 against Pavel Mazalski. So it's depending on what kind of level of fighters he has, right? It is impressive to get a 10-fight winning streak, first round finishes, but against those level of opponents, you have to have those first round finishes no matter what, even if those opponents have those 12-12 record. At 12-6, you should be retiring. You should not. You should quit the sport. This is not for you. 12-12, like you gotta finish him. The interesting part of me for this fight is this guy is 6'5". He's 6'5" versus Joaquin, who is 5.
he's tiny compared, isn't
5'10". It's gonna look like a big size difference in the cage.
Yeah.
Also, making 170 will be interesting. As a 6'5" guy, you'll probably be the tallest in that division. And just to see if Joaquin can go with the momentum he has been since his loss to Chris Curtis, if he moving down to welterweight, if he can keep going on the momentum and build up the rankings.
Yeah, and I mean, this guy was matched up against Kyle Barradio as well, who we just saw what happened between him and Paul Craig. You know, this guy's no joke, like you said. First round finishes, but what is that level of opponent? Joaquin Buckley has proved that he seems to finally be on that pathway to being the level that we thought he could be when he hit that spinning kick against Impa Kasanganay, in what feels like years ago. I mean, it was 4 years ago now almost, right? So he's finally stepping up there. I really, really like his style, and I think he stole the night of that fight night card. when he beat Vicente Luque, and I think he's finally showing us what he's capable of. And he's going to come into this fight super motivated. I think being a small and stocky power puncher maybe benefits him in this fight if it doesn't go to the ground. I mean, with a name like Nursultan Ruziboyev, you don't want it to go to the ground, right? That's not where you want to be challenged. And
with 20
we have
wins
seen
by
it.
submissions.
Exactly.
Record,
we have seen in some places that is a bit of a weakness for him. So how's it going to go for Buckley? Look, I hope it goes well, because I want to see him continue climbing those rankings. I mean, when you set it off the start there, if you look into the rankings above him, you got Jeff Neal, who's just come off a fight, Stephen Thompson, who we're not quite sure what his next step is, and then you go into your Brady's, Gary's, Burns, Madalenas, for example. So yeah, there's pretty much in that top 15. There's pretty much no other fights to take. So what's he going to do? Hold his ranking? Possibly, I guess. Wait for one of those guys. Continue talking a ton of trash. But he seems to be looking to strike while the iron is hot, so to speak. And I like that from Buckley, man. I think this fight takes real minerals to take on, because he's risking. Does he gain anything from this? Is he going to shoot up a place in the rankings if he beats this guy? I don't think so, right?
He doesn't gain anything in terms of moving up the rankings. However, Dana likes people that are calling for fights, who wants to fight a lot. He has been doing that. He's been very active. He's fighting. He's like, I want to fight in It's my home state, my home city. Let me find that card. I'll do you a favor. You fill up a co-main, you get another ranked opponent on the main card. And the UC will probably give him a favor, or fulfill their favor in his next fight, probably giving a ranked fighter like Sean Brady, like maybe possibly Ian Gary, if he depends what he does. Wonderboy Thompson. We know if Wonderboy Thompson wants to be a stand-up fighter, we say we need to be fun stand-up fights. Joaquin can stand and bang as well. I don't know if he's to the level of taking shots like from a karate master like Wonderboy, but it's a good favor he did for the UFC, and UFC probably will repay that favor.
Yeah, I hope so. That's what you want to see, right? Kind of like the Cowboy Cerrones of day gone by, where these guys fight and then they get opportunities. What are we going to go for? Hey, I'm going to go with Ruziboyev. I think he's going to do him maybe second round. I think he's going to figure him out. I think that grappling is going to be a problem, and Buckley's going to get exposed. There's going to be a big banana skin for him, unfortunately. So yeah, Ruziboyev by sub, second round. I
got this unanimous decision win for Joaquin Buckley.
Unanimous decision. Okay,
unanimous
interesting.
Decision, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Next, we go down to the light heavyweight division. Carlos Ulberg finally getting his chance to punch his ticket against the ranked guy in Alonzo Menefield. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? I really, really like Carlos Ulberg. He's one of those guys, man. He's one of those guys. He's good. He's got all the skills. He's slick. He's almost looking, is he a bit too good to be true? I think Menefield, we're going to find out. Menefield's no joke. He's ranked 11 in the division, really pushing on that top 10. And he's coming off some fine wins himself. Dustin Jacoby, Jimmy Crute, Serkinov, Mojarov, a few finishes in there by both submissions and strike. With Carlos Ulberg, we know he's 9-1. And he's pretty much got a good few finishes as well. But like you said earlier with our boy Nursultan, right? What's the level of opponent that he's been facing? Not so impressive, in all honesty. But this will be a big test for Ulberg, man. This will be a big test.
Yeah, I believe it'll be a big test. We remember Ulberg his first fight in UFC, lost by KO to Kennedy. Can you pronounce his name? His last name?
Nzikwichu, I think.
Yeah. So, but Kennedy that loss hasn't kind of aged well, because especially Kennedy coming off a loss to OSP recently, and OSP's like 4,000 years old. You can't just lose to a guy like that. So I think they're slowly building up Carlos, especially was his fight against Fabio. 2 left hooks right away in Texas and knocked him down. I think he's solid. I think he got a bit starstruck maybe in UFC, even though it was in the Apex. Carl's still a fun fight. He's in a good gym. I know people hate on the gym in Australia or in New Zealand, City Kickboxing.
Yeah.
I people kind of shit on it, but they're a good gym. They're a good gym. Eugene Behrman is one of the great coaches in the gym in the MMA world. He'll probably figure it out. It's not like Carlos wasn't gonna be fighting the top division. They gave him Dominic Reyes, who was supposed to fight in Canada, canceled. Was supposed to fight Alonzo Menefield, canceled. So now they're actually giving him somebody who's ranked, and it's not like he's ranked like 10-5. He's ranked 14, like 10, 11, and 15. So it's a higher, it's the lower rankings of the UFC. So see if Alberg could get past that challenge against Menefield, who's built like a tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see.
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude. But Alberg's also big. He's 6'4". He's taller than him by 4 inches.
Yeah.
Let's see how Alberg does. Alberg's only lost once by KO. That's his only loss. I think we're talking about the ones that might turn into 2. I think his will stay as a 1. I think he is up for that challenge. He is good as he is, and he's still young, man. He's only 33. So
yeah, it's young for the division.
This is the run. Yeah, this is the run. The heavier divisions, this is the run they have to do now. It's 15. Fight somebody in the rankings. Defend your ranking. Fight top 10. Fight top 5. Defend top 5. Get into the championship.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think if Alberg can go out there, because you're looking at that Perth card towards, I think, September time, right, in Australia. If he can go out there, put on a good performance, there's no reason why, down to Nikita Krylov, even Alexander Rakic, just coming off a loss as well.
Yep.
Krylov, Walker, Rakic, Ozdemir, Smith. There's no reason. If you beat Alonso, take that number 11, you could be punching for Krylov at number 6. Absolutely, you can, especially with the star power this guy could have, being from down under as well. It seems like there's someone from down under almost in every division as we go down at the moment, right? So, yeah, the UFC will be looking to push that, and I think that's where he'll be looking to. And I think I would fancy him to get the job done, honestly, against Alonzo Menefield. I think Menefield is pretty well rounded, but I do think that he's going to try and get involved in the striking. I think he's seeing himself as, okay, I've got to make a statement as well to get into that top 10, to get a top 10 fight. But I think he's going to overdo it. And I think the more technical game planning, like you said about the gym, the game plan of Wahlberg will be his undoing. Unanimous decision, Carlos Wahlberg for me.
Round 1.
Round
KO
1.
For Carlos Wahlberg.
Very nice. Very nice. Next up, Diego Ferreira against Mateusz Rebecki. Rebecki, the Polish pronunciation mix up. Rebecki, coming off a good win against Roosevelt Roberts, a round 1 finish, a round 2 finish before that. So, and then a unanimous decision win. I mean, this dude's got a good record, man. 19-1. Diego Ferreira coming in there as well. Coming off a win, Michael Johnson. It's always a good win off Michael Johnson. I mean, it's never bad on your CV. But behind that, he does have losses to Mateusz Gamrot, Gregor Gillespie, and Beneil Dariush. So very much somebody who's kind of fallen at the top of those rankings. How do you see this one going in, man? Is it a setup? This looks like a setup fight.
Absolutely setup. I think it does offer. This is Mateusz's fight to lose, to be honest. I don't see this fight going past 2 rounds even. I mean, Diego Ferreira, he's been in UFC for a long time now, kind of. He hasn't fought like that many times, but I see him as a vet now. He's 39 years old. He lost at the top of the division. He's just there to get a fight, get another name on your record and move on. Mateusz has a really impressive Contender Series win, I remember, and he was very excited. He has a little sparky attitude. Would like compared to like other Polish people, maybe like to JJ. Yamaha was just quiet and more like a mean demeanor, but he has a fun attitude. His stats against other fighters, unlike the guy in the co-main event we talked about, his is not kind of stat pattern. It is people younger in the MMA world, like 12-1, 11-1.
Yeah.
Be a guy called Fabiano Silva, 13-12-1. I believe Fabiano Silva is fighting in Bellator. Am I wrong? Oh, Cage Warriors. Cage Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
So level competition is still there. he has a good mix of knockout wins, submission wins, both more than decision wins with only 3. He got knocked out once. I do just see this as an easy clear win for Mateus. He's well rounded, younger, faster, up on the uprising, in one of the most exciting divisions in lightweight division.
Yeah, for sure. I see it pretty much the same way, man. I'm going to go first round finish. I think he's just going to go straight through him. First round finish by any method he wants, really.
I'm gonna go first round knockout for Mateus.
First round knockout. Let's go. Right before we get to your guy, Alex Caceres and Sean Woodson. Alex is kind of the perennial just outside the top 15, breaks in and out every once in a while. Coming off the Giga Chikadze loss, that was a decision, which is, it's a good look to go the full distance with Giga Chikadze. Yeah. And Sean Woodson very much on the up and up now, 4 wins in a row. The last one being over Charles Jourdain, which I think is a really good win, man. I like Charles Jourdain a lot. So that win's really good. And that was a split decision as well. So a really tough fight.
Well, we thought Charles won there, right? And if you remember the crowd, Bruce announcing Sean, but we all cheered like a Charles won.
Yeah.
Similar names, yeah.
Similar names, right? So, man, how are you seeing this one, guys? It's kind of the battle for the edge of the top 15, right? Who's going to get the next ranked guy?
I actually think this is a really, really good matchmaking for this fight. Sean Woodson's a stand-up kickboxer. Caceres has sick kicks. He's a good kickboxer. If you remember what he landed on Julian Erosa, a few fights ago, not long ago, that was 2022, so 2 years ago. He nice left kick coming up, dropped him, continued on. I think it's really good matchmaking. He's just, like you said, Caceres is not at the top of the division. He can't get past the top 15 or the top. Can't get past 11 ranked. Woodson has been from the Contender Series, been on fire. He did come in. He did have a loss against Erosa, who Caceres beat. So it's like the MMA math, see if the triangle completes itself. However, he's been on a good streak. Woodson actually fought at heavyweight, if you believe it or not. He is 6'2" for a featherweight. It's pretty
he's long.
He's long. But Caceres is not a short fella himself. Caceres is also 5'10". He looks taller because of that big afro of his. I think this is really good matchmaking. I think it's be one of the funner fights of the card. That would be a good little stand-up going back and forth. And I see this Woodson as taking his decision. I hope he makes more of a dominant win because he's been having more split decision and draws in his last fights. Compared to his finishes. He does have more decision wins, so that's one win decision. And I think it'll be a fun little fight. I could see this potentially being a fight of the night. If, both men keep it standing.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think this has got fireworks written all over it. And then when you look at the bottom end of that division, Diego Lopez, Danny Ige, Bryce Mitchell, Sadiq Youssef, Barboza, Chikadze, that's the 10 to 15. So no wonder it's tough to get in there. That is a tough division. I'm going to go, Sean Woodson by decision as well, I think. Here we go. I won't even let you do the introduction. Go ahead. This is your guy.
First round knockout.
First round knockout. Back.
Over under 30 seconds. That's the only question you got to ask. We'll definitely see Robles get challenged like Rodel Costas or Costa. He's also long. He's what, 6'4" versus 6'6", 6'8", 6'6". Also Dominican Republican, so Latin American fighting each other. I'll just say this: if you take Andrei Arlovsky to a decision, you're gonna get knocked out by Robelis. I'll just say that. I think Robelis is a freak of nature. You saw what he did against John Parison. That's all we have to see, even if you haven't watched him his previous career. I still laugh at the moment where I think the fight just started. They touch gloves and they're kind of feeling each other out. And then 10 seconds pass and John Anik literally says, well, this has been the longest fight combined for Robelis and Spain in his last 5 fights. He has knockout power. He's built like a tank as well. He's 6. Let me get the exact height. He is 6'7". His reach is 87 inches.
Yeah, it's nuts.
he is different specimen. He's 35. He's right at the prime of the heavyweight division. Like we mentioned earlier, the heavyweight division is an older group. The only thing I got Cortez Acosta. I mean, I don't even know what I would say for Acosta because, like, again, you take Arlovsky in your last fight to a decision. That's how I remember you by. You're gonna get knocked out by Rebellis to Spain. His last 5 fights, right? He's 5-0 in the UFC. He's 5-9 in the UFC. Round 1, 6 seconds. Sorry, 4 minutes and 55 seconds. Round 1, 12 seconds. Round 1, 3 seconds. Round 1, 4 seconds. Round 1, 18 seconds. It like just got better. So I just give no chance to Acosta here.
Yeah, poor guy. Yeah, pretty much me neither. I'm excited to see this man get in there and kind of watch his run up the division, because it could be a lot of fun. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it could be a lot of fun. I'm with you. First round knockout by Rebellis Boguslavski. That's where
I wish I looked like him. I wish I looked like him.
Right, let's go for the prelims. What is jumping out for you from the prelims, my friend?
Terrence McKinney's back. I like that. I like him. He has a 100% finishing rate, but he also has a 100% losing rate, getting finished by a finish. However, we talked about the fighters that are 12-1, or sorry, that have a 1 loss that could turn into 2. I believe this is one of them. I think McKinney will get back to his winning ways. I think let me get his name right. Esteban Ribovics, maybe a little bit of a jump for him. Since he got to the UFC, he hasn't really impressed. He lost by he has 2 unanimous decision, 1 win, 1 loss against people I'm not even quite sure, except Kamala Kirk, who I saw him on, who was in the Volkanovski Rodriguez for the interim in the main and unified a belt card. I didn't see anything good from him. He did seem like a solid fighter. I do think McKinney is motivated coming off a few losses now. He came off 2 wins now, but before that he came off losses, so he wants to keep the momentum going. He was supposed to be one of the brighter fighters in the division, someone who will be not champion material, but somebody 15 and 11 ranked in lightweight. So I'm excited to see McKinney back. He's always fun to watch. Chase Hooper, Barshev, fun fight, kind of grappler versus striker type fighters. Hooper looks different at lightweight now. He looks like he's more growing up into a man.
Yeah.
Let's see how he does versus Barshev. Barshev also was supposed to be a bright spot in the lightweight division. He has like some amazing kickboxing. He really fast kicks, but he has problems with wrestling, as we saw in the past. Let's see what Chase Hooper does with this, and maybe Chase Hooper could finally get his way into the rankings after being in the UFC for like forever, even though he's only like 20.
Yeah, he's a baby.
24. He's a baby. He's still a baby. Yeah. And who else stands out? Jake Hartley's back. I like to see him fight. He's also a English guy.
Yeah.
He was a Cage Warrior champion, if I remember correctly. See if he can translate it to the UFC.
Yeah, he hasn't quite lit the UFC alight yet.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of wins, a couple of losses. So yeah, he's 2-2 at the moment. He's an exciting one, man. If he can put it together, he's certainly exciting. He's got big beef with Mohammed Mokaev as well. They don't like each other, so that could be a fight to look out for down the line. But he's got to get his act together. He's 27. He talks a big game, but he's not quite doing it in the UFC. His 2 wins have been good, 2 finishes, but he's got to put the rest of it together. And Charles Johnson is a serious test. He's a serious test. He's starting to get back on the wagon now. Who else? You've got a returning Tisha Torres coming up against Tabitha Ricci in the strawweight division. Women's strawweight division. Obviously, Tisha coming back off giving birth, as Raquel Pennington told me in the interview, which is on the channel. So that's a good one to watch. Billy Goff, we've got a good couple of interviews with him on the channel.
She's gonna go now as Tisha
Pennington, right?
Yeah.
Billy Goff, another friend of the channel, and then opening up the card. They really don't like her because of her surname, right? Veronica Harding and Joe.
She's good. She's a good fighter.
She's really good, man. She's really good, especially since she has properly linked up with Dan. They're putting together some good game plans, and she's exciting to watch. So that is an early kickoff for us in the UK. These early prelims start 9 o'clock UK time, 10 o'clock my time, European time, which is it's a godsend. It very rarely happens, but it's a godsend. The main card will still be at 1 o'clock, so I'll still be picking that up the next day. But I'll probably tune in for the first couple of fights, at least down to Jake Hadley, I think.
For us, it starts at 4 o'clock, right in the middle of the day. Main event set at 7. We have playoffs, basketball, playoff hockey here, so we'll lead in right into the late games for that.
It's a good Saturday over there, man. It's a good Saturday. Well, listen, man. As always, thank you for your company. We got a good card to look forward to here in St. Louis with Derrick Lewis and Rodrigo Nascimento at the top of it. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate your time, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Always love being on the pod, even when you're not around. I mean, Dana have to pick it up.
All right, man. Listen, everybody, enjoy the fights, and we'll be back with another episode next week to wrap everything up. Maybe talk about some news. I don't think, is there a fight next week, or is it just not for a couple of weeks now?
No, the following week is May. It's
Barboza and Murphy, right? Yeah, 18.
Kellen Williams is back. Adrian Yanez is back. So I think it is Apex, but a bit
Angela
of
Hill,
bit of up and
Garimbo,
Abus Magomedov. Yeah.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Not big names. Not big names that are in the main event, but it's an Apex fight card.
Not too bad. And then we roll straight into 302. So lots of stuff to talk about, right?
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
everybody.
Yes,
Catch you all next time.
Take care, everybody.